So, welcome to the Secure Dynamics TechCast. I have with me a past guest, Jennifer McLaren, who is the CIO at Boston College High School. Welcome back, Jen.
Thank you for having me, Ashwin.
So, a topic that I think needs to have more attention, but I may be biased, which is really cybersecurity and user experience. And let's start with something that is obviously a big thing that every security leader espouses, which is MFA, multi-factor authentication. But I encountered this alternative expansion of the abbreviation of calling it multi-fatigue authentication. One of my sisters told me that, and it actually hit me because we're all like, as an end user, if I take off my cybersecurity hat for a minute, it's like I want to get to a website or I want to transact something, and I have this SMS or Google Auth, or pick whatever form of MFA. It does add friction, right? So from your perspective, like how have you seen the average user actually kind of make this part and parcel of their daily life versus trying to, hey, how do I, another headache that I have to go, or a hurdle I have to jump through?
That's a good question. And throw in getting a new iPhone, right? And you lose all of your multi-factor codes, right. And that's a nightmare. But we've had some good luck with bringing in a product called OneLogin, and it allows us to put most of our business application behind one two-factor method. So the OneLogin app is really just one authentication. All of the apps are inside of their dashboard there. So that's been something that we a decision that we made intentionally to reduce the number of authentications that they would have to do in a day. And when they're on campus, we don't have them use the multi-factor. It's only when they're signing in externally. Before we had OneLogin, we tried to use as few authentication apps as possible, right? But right now I'm really challenged because I'm having to go across the organization and create an inventory of all of our sign-ins for every web login, every application, to determine who has a sign-in, who's a basic user, who's an admin, is there two-factor on. I don't necessarily want to have an account as an IT member, but we need to come up with a way of auditing those accounts to ensure that they're removing users and whatnot, and two-factor is turned on if it's available. So sometimes the challenge for us is the software application doesn't provide 2FA. So.
And you mentioned something which struck me also, right? And right before the call, you were talking about the seniors who are graduating this year, but also employees and people who move on and all that, right? So again, in your circle, I mean, how prevalent is this mentality of saying, hey, we need to audit, we need to revoke privileges that have been accorded that may not be necessary, or people that have moved out? But clearly, I mean, that seems to be a big surface for exposure.
Yeah, it's getting a lot better. And I just taught a class earlier in the week, and we were talking about when an employee leaves an organization, whether it's on good terms, bad terms, right? A process needs to take place. You need to remove authentication and access to applications. But we also talked about IT and HR have to work hand in hand on policies that make sense. And that's something that we did. Our IT team worked very closely with HR, but not only IT, but we brought in other folks from the organization that had a stake in the on-off boarding process. Specifically, we hire a lot of coaches, and so it's really hard to keep track of their comings and goings. So I was actually telling my students how nice it is to see our new assistant athletic director has really taken ownership. He's a true champion of the on and off boarding process now, and he has taken it to new heights. So it was hard initially getting it out of the gate, right, and getting buy-in, but we had to do it, and we did it because we were always the last to know someone was hired or let go. But we've seen a turnaround, a sharp turnaround, and it's been worth the effort.
So that actually raises another interesting question, right? Which is you mentioned this athletic director, and he has kind of become your virtual CISO, if you will, right? Trying to promote the cause. Yeah. So how and that's something that I'm increasingly hearing, that which is, it's not just the CISO and his or her organization. It is the broader I don't know, call them spies or whatever you will, right? Who are actually talking inside of marketing, inside of sales, inside of sports to actually do that. I mean, how is that starting to take root now that you've seen success with it?
Yes, absolutely. I think you're absolutely right that you have to get out there and talk with people, right? They're the first line of defense. They know what's going on in the building, right? And so the more you talk about it, the more you get people involved. They are going to be your biggest champions. And whether it's in athletics or in HR, we all have to work together for the common goal of security. And now, we've worked hard about of adding it to the handbook and putting and I'd love to tie it to performance reviews, right? Your cybersecurity hygiene. Are you conducting all these security awareness trainings? Like, we finally put it in the handbook that every employee has to participate in 3 5-minute trainings per year.
Mm.
That was huge. Are we getting 100% participation? No, but eventually we will. But I need to get the managers to help out, right? The managers need to remind their teammates to do the trainings, and they're all nice people. They mean well, but they're busy in their day to day. So sometimes security isn't top of mind.
Yeah.
Um,
So one last question, and again, this goes back to the CISO qualities, attributes, if you will, right? Which is the traditional view is, okay, somebody's kind of gone up the technical ranks. You obviously break that norm. But the thing I was trying to get at is you mentioned needing to be out there, understanding how these different groups work, and kind of becoming part and parcel of their thought process to see how security could fit in. That takes not an extrovert, but does take going out of your comfort zone, right? Which is whether you've come up through tech ranks, or even if you've come up through a different source like you have, it takes a different skill set to be able to go and mingle with people, to understand their psyche. I mean, how have you seen the role of the CISO, or what attributes make up a successful CISO also change over the years?
Well, yeah, you can't be shut off in your office writing policy, right? If you have no idea if it's going to be effective or not. You have to actually know the solution you're trying to, security is your goal, right? You need to know what's actually happening so you can have policies that work, not just paper tigers, right? So I've had great luck meeting with departments and just talking with them about what they do every day. And oftentimes I've seen team members learn from each other in meetings, things that they found out they hadn't known before, and it's no one's everyone means well, right? But oftentimes we get kind of in our day-to-day routines, and we don't have the time to collaborate as much as we want to. So I think a successful CISO, right, is out there figuring out where the near misses are, right? Where are the close calls? And then you can actually take some measures to change your policy, change your procedures, train your people. We do that with a software where we go out and we try to find PII on people's machines or in inboxes, right? So we can figure out the behaviors of the users. So we can maybe speak with them, change the policy, have more training. But it's all about getting to know behaviors and then adapting accordingly.
Great. Yeah. Again, a great conversation. Again, thanks for being a repeat guest, and good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks.